Hey, it's Pete here and I'm back for a featured lesson, and today I wanted to talk about using the percentages. So in Bridge there's lots of stuff about how suits will divide or what's the chance of this happening, and today I wanted to cover some of the percentages and how we can actually use them. So I'll bring up the percentages of different suit divisions. So what I've got here is we've got a table saying how many cards there are missing. So in the top row we've got 2 cards missing, and then how could these divide? And also what the percentages are. So they could divide 1-1, which is 52%, or they could divide 2-0 one way, or 0-2 the other way, and together they're worth 48%. So what I've done in this table is I haven't filled in all the different, like if we look at the next one where it's got 3 cards missing, it says 2-1, 78%. That's 2-1 one way and 1-2 the other way, and it's just combining those two. So any 2-1 split is 78%, whereas a 3-0 or a 0-3% is 22%. Okay, so there's the table, and you don't need to memorize this. Okay, I haven't memorized this, but what you do need to know is what are the likely distributions, like what's the most common ones, and roughly how common they are. Okay, so a very common one that you need to know is what's the chance of a 3-2 split. So suits dividing happens quite a bit. Like we've got 8 card fits and we need to know, are they dividing 3-2 or 4-1, and do we want to play for something to be 3-2 or should we play for something to be elsewise? So here 3-2 is 68% and is quite a lot better than above 50%. So why do I mention above 50%? Is because lots of the time in percentages you need to choose, do I take a finesse or do I use this other thing? So if you had a choice of, do I play for a suit 3-2 or do I take a finesse is 50% and 3-2 division is 68%. Another thing that you might want to know is just like the relative ordering of these. So you might not need to know that 3-2 is 68%, but you need to know that 3-2 is more likely than 4-1. So the easy way to remember given any number of cards, what's the most likely split? So here I've boldened the most likely split for each of these. But one way of remembering it is if you are missing an even number of cards, if you're missing an even number of cards, the suit breaks oddly. So let's look at if you've got 4 or 6 card suits. What I mean by oddly is they don't break as the most even distribution. So we're missing 4 cards, 2-2 is not the most even distribution. If we're missing 6 cards, 3-3 is not the most even distribution. So it breaks unevenly if we have an even amount of cards missing. Whereas if we're missing an odd number of cards, like 3 or 5, they break as balanced as possible. So 2-1 is the most popular split, and 3-2 is the most common split when missing 5 cards. So if you're missing an even number of cards, it's not the most even distribution. That's most likely it's the one depth. And if you're missing an odd number, it is. So here you can see that when we're looking at 4 cards missing, then it goes 3-1's the most common, then 2-2, then 4-0. Okay, another common misconception that I have, but I hear about with percentages is, let's look at the 4 cards missing. So the 2-2 split is 40%, the 3-1 split is 50%, and 4-0, 10%. So one of the questions that I often hear is, okay, so let's apply this to an actual suit. So do you remember the saying 8 ever, 9 never, which is talking about when you have 9 cards missing the queen, what should you do? So if you've got 9 cards missing the queen, it suggests that you should play for the queen to drop and you should cash the ace king of the suit and hope that the queen drops rather than taking the finesse. But as you can see here, 2-2 is not the most likely division. That's only 40%, whereas 3-1 happens more often. So why is it that we should still be playing for the drop? So what we've got here is that 3-1 is not just 3-1, but also 1-3. So let's imagine that we can lead up to our ace king jack. We're just missing the queen. So if we can lead up to our ace king jack, we can pick up a 3-1 there, but that 3-1 is only 25%, and 1-3 comes for the other 25% to bring that up. So of the 1-3s that split the other way, we can't pick up the queen because it's sitting over our ace king and we can't actually do anything about it. So that's why playing for the drop is still the best, because as I mentioned before, the possible distributions, I haven't filled them all in, but it's 3-1 and 1-3 that make it up. Anyway, let's look at this in some action. So bring up an actual board. So let's say that we get to 4 hearts by the south hand, and we get a spade lead. So here we are in 4 hearts, and we have no spade losers, we have no diamond losers, we've got 3 club losers, but we'll be able to ruff one. We'll also be able to lead up to our king of clubs. And we've also got a heart loser, but if they break 2-1, that's fine. So what we want to do is we just want to start by drawing trumps. So we'll win and draw trumps in 2 rounds. Yep. And king of hearts. And then we just want to cross back to the dummy and lead a club towards our king. Okay. And when that wins, because the ace is on side, we actually make 12 tricks, because we can just give up a club now and we get to ruff our other club. So we've made 12 tricks here. So should we be in slam? So this is the type of question you want to be able to work out. Should we be in slam on this hand? So I'll open up all the cards again. So we're in 4 hearts, and we got a spade lead, and we needed to play for the ace of clubs on side. Should we be in slam on this hand? So what we want to do is work out the percentages and compare that to when is slam actually good. So if you don't know, to be in a slam, you want the slam to be 50% or better. Okay, regardless of if it's imps or match points. If it's imps, the swing that you get for bidding or not bidding a slam is completely even, like you either pick up 11 or lose 11. In match points, you just want your contract to be above 50% when you're bidding it. So, should we be in this slam? Well, it looks like we should. This slam is just 50% because we're just hoping that the ace of clubs is on side. We took 1 finesse and we hope that worked. We get to ruff the other club all the time, but there are some other things that we do need on this hand. For instance, we need spades not to be 7-0. We need diamonds not to be 8-0. We need clubs not to be 7-1 and let them go club ruff. All those are pretty remote, but all of them do reduce that below 50%. But the biggest dent into the 50% is look at the hearts. We're missing the queen, jack, and another heart. And if hearts were 3-0, we would actually have a heart loser here. So if we look over there and look at the possible splits, so 2-1 is 78% of the time, but 3-0 is 22% of the time. So we need the finesse to work, and we need that 22% of the time not to actually happen. So this contract is not well below, but it is definitely below 50%, and we don't want to be in this slam because it's a bad slam. So for slams, you want them to be above 50%. Here we can see that we've got a finesse, which brings it down to 50% straight away, and then we lose. So 22% of the time, that's also a 3-0 split, which we actually drop down to 11% because of half the time. So this slam is around 40%, 39% to make, not including all the really bad spade, diamond, club distributions. So here we don't want to be in this slam, and you can see that because it's not just the club finesse, but there are other bad breaks. So here, even though we made 12 tricks, you shouldn't worry about it. It's good in the long run that we did not bid this slam, And that's how you can use your percentages to work out were we in the right contract or not. So that's only one of the important things about using percentages, is justifying later should we have done something different. Another time is actually trying to make the most amount of the tricks as possible. So in this one, let's say that we're in 3 no trumps and the opponents lead the king of spades. Okay, so looking at this hand, what do we know? So after we lose the ace of spades, then we need to take 9 tricks. If we let the opponents in again, they will take too many. So they've got at least 4 spade tricks, assuming the suit breaks 5-4. It could break worse. And if we let them in with either a club or a diamond, then if we let them in with a club or a diamond, then we also have another loser there. Okay, so what should we do here? Well, looking at the suits, we could play on clubs and hope they break 2-2. And if they break 2-2, then we get 5 club tricks, a spade, 2 hearts, and a diamond, which is 9 tricks. We could also take a diamond finesse, which is hoping that West has the king of diamonds. And then if that works, we'd get 4 diamond tricks, 2 clubs, 2 hearts, and a spade. So both of these could work. And which one should we take? Or can we utilize both of them? So on this hand, we can actually try both of these. We can test to see if clubs work, and if they don't work, then we can fall back on the diamond finesse. And that's because we can win the ace of spades, play the 2 rounds of clubs, see if they break, and then if they don't, we haven't actually let the opponent in. So when you're trying to combine your chances, you have to work out, do I let my opponent in if it fails? So here we get to test clubs, and even if it fails, we retain control of it, and we still get to continue playing, try something else. Whereas if we tried diamonds first, and the diamond finesse failed, we've lost control, they then get their spades. So it's very important here that in trying both of them, we want to try the club suit first. So here what we want to do is we want to win the ace of spades, and we want to test the clubs, so cash the ace king of clubs. Okay, and here they do not break. So at this stage we then want to get back to the south hand and play another. Get back here and then finesse the diamonds. And when this works, we actually get 9 tricks because we've got 2 clubs, 2 hearts, a spade, and 4 diamond tricks by finessing there. So we actually get 9 tricks this way. So here we got to test the clubs, and clubs would be 2-2, 40% of the time. When they're not 40%, when they're not 2-2, we then fall back on the finesse, which is another 50%. So half the time when that fails, we then get to make the contract. So we would actually get to make this contract 70% of the time. So 40% for the 2-2, and then of the 60% that it fails, half of that time with the finesse it's going to make. So we get 70% of the time we get to make this contract. Let's have a look at just pretty similar contracts, but slightly different. So let's say they go king of spades, and this hand looks very, very similar. We're in our hand with the spade. Now the one difference here is we don't have that entry to the king of hearts. So again, what we want to do is think, what are our possible options, and what are the percentages of those various options? So here we've got the 9 card club fit. If they break 2-2, then we get to make 5 club tricks, 2 hearts, a spade, and a diamond for 9 tricks. Also, if the diamond finesse works instead, we get to take 4 diamond tricks, 2 clubs, 2 hearts, and a spade. Which of these should we actually do? So if we look over to our percentages, the chance of a finesse working is 50-50, whereas the chance of the suit breaking 2-2 is 40%. So which of these options should we actually take? So we obviously want to take the highest percentage one. So we want to win in our hand, and then we want to take the diamond finesse. Now it's very important here, I did it on the last hand but didn't mention it, is to lead the 9 or 8 of diamonds first. Now, let's just look at what happens if we lead the queen. So let's say we lead the queen, and then that wins, and then we play another diamond, and that wins. But now we're in the wrong hand, and if diamonds don't break, our jack of diamonds isn't good. But if we backtrack, and instead of leading the queen of diamonds, we actually lead the 9 or the 8, what we can do is we can put the little one under it, and then after that works, we can lead the queen, which also gets to hold the trick. And notice we're still in the south hand at the moment, so we can lead another diamond and repeat the finesse. So here, using those percentages to work out what's above 50% and what's below 50% can let you work out the winning line on this hand, because after we do this, we then get to cash clubs, see if they break. But the club suit doesn't break, and if we'd tried clubs we would have gone down. And it's very important to notice that here, if we took the 40% line, we would have gone down. 50% line works this time, and it was a 10% better play. So here you can really use the percentages to increase your chance of play. So what you want to do when working out lines of play is think, okay, what are my two options? So should I play for this suit to break, or should I take it this finesse? Or should I play for this suit to break this way, or this suit to break this way? Which of those is better? And if so, take the better one. Also, you want to think, can I combine my chances? Can I play for two things? So on that previous hand, we had the entries to test the clubs first. And that's because when trying to combine your chances, what you want to do is take the chance that doesn't let the opponents in. So if you don't let the opponents in, we can cash the ace king of clubs, get back to the south hand, then take the diamond finesse. But here, we only had one entry, and that was the real crux of this hand, is one entry, so we had to utilize it to test the suit with the best percentages, and the best percentages were taking the diamond finesse rather than hoping that the club suit broke 2-2. So again, you don't need to remember all of these percentages, but it's useful to realize, is that above 50% or below 50%? So 3-2 divisions are above 50%. They're 68% of the time. Whereas lots of the others are below 50%. Also, you want to work out which ones are the most likely way for that suit to break. So remember, if you're missing an even amount of cards, they're most likely not to break as evenly possible, except for 2-2. So if you look at 4 cards, if you look, except for the 2 cards breaking 1-1, that's the most likely one. If you're looking at 4 cards, 2-2 is not the most likely distribution. It's more likely to break oddly with 3-1 or 1-3, which brings up 50% all the time. Whereas if you're looking at 5 cards missing, they're going to break as evenly as possible, 3-2, 68% of the time, whereas 4-1 is a lot lower. If you're missing 6 cards, then the 3-3 break, the most even distribution of the cards, isn't as likely as a slightly skewed one of 4-2. So 4-2 is 48%, whereas 3-3 is just around 35%. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this lesson on using the percentages. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.